Right back here on the morning show. It's a beautiful morning here in Winter Park, and definitely stick around later in the show. We're going to have a special guest, Mike from YMCA of the Rockies, talking about Camp Chief Ouray. Summer's coming. A lot of cool things going on at the YMCA of the Rockies, who's also one of our key sponsors. So big thanks to those guys. Hanging out with my favorite nemesis here, Tim Nicklas of the Grand County Historical Association. And Tim, we're talking Doc Susie.
We're talking Doc Susie. So for those of you who don't know who Doc Susie was, she was a very famous woman physician in Fraser, starting in 1907.
It's over 100 years ago.
Over 100 years ago, and she practiced into the 1950s.
So this is our Dr. Quinn medicine woman.
It sure is. You know, a few years after Doc Quinn, what supposedly was, but rumor always has it that Dr. Quinn medicine woman was partially based on Doc Susie, but never seen any actual evidence on that. But it's nice to think about.
Locally, we'll claim that. We'll take that,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So she came here not to be a doctor, but to cure herself of tuberculosis.
What?
You know?
So she just came here to get out of the high altitude dry air, or what?
Yeah, get in the high altitude dry air. And then it was accidentally discovered that she was a doctor when she fixed a rancher's horse. So, and then her legend grew from there. But I brought with us.
So she's a vet turned doctor, more or less.
Or doctor, vet, doctor.
Doctor,
you
vet,
did
doctor.
everything back then.
Yeah, right.
So, but I brought a couple of photos from her days in University of Michigan Medical School, and you can see her inner class there.
And what would you say? What year might this be?
So this
right
would
around
have
the turn of
been,
the century?
1897, and you can see there were quite a few women in her class. So University of Michigan was very progressive. We tend to think that there weren't very many women physicians back in Doc Susie's day, and that maybe she was the only one around. But no, there were quite a few in her class at University of Michigan at that time. I counted 16 of them. So
holy cow!
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's another one that kind of closes up on Doc Susie. You can see her right there. So.
Oh wow! Look at that. Okay.
So, yeah.
And this is University of Michigan. Huh?
University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Yep.
Wow.
So her a
So then
famous.
she got tuberculosis, God knows how, and decided to
everybody had TB.
jump the train and come up here. Yeah, right.
She also had another reason to come to Colorado, that her father and brother were miners over in Cripple Creek.
Okay.
And ironically, that's where she's buried, is
in Cripple
Creek next to her.
Is there casinos down there, or what's down there these days?
Yeah, there's casinos down there.
Okay.
But you know, back in those days, it was even more wild than the casinos.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I love the
gunfights.
Gunfights, definitely gunfights.
Do you want to reenact any for us?
And well, that'll be happening in June.
Uh-oh.
When I get to do the whole
The hot
Texas
sulfur
Charlie
mass
thing.
Oh,
again. Yes.
the reenactment.
Yes, that's why the beard and long hair.
When's that? Where's that going to be?
So, that's going to be in Hot Sulphur, right there in downtown.
What date?
I believe it's June 12th.
Oh, so on June 12th, you can come see Tim Nicklas. Will you still be bearded and long-haired?
Absolutely.
Nice. That's going to fit the character good.
That's right.
Texas Charlie.
Technically, it's the 11th, I think.
The 11th. Okay. So.
So Doctor, back to Doc
thing?
Susie. Outside of having a restaurant up at the resort for a while named after her, what's going on? What did she do that was so exciting?
Well, I mean, the fact that she was a woman country doctor up here in Fraser, where it really was kind of a wild place back then, and she used to ski out to her patients, Norwegian snowshoes.
Holy cow! Okay.
So, I mean, she lived a very hard existence out here. She was often
a rugged old doctor.
She
Good
really
for her.
was.
Until what year?
Until the 1950s.
So she was old.
She was old.
With tuberculosis. Good for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the air took care of that, just like the air takes care of all of us today.
All of our ailments.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you whipped out a magazine here. Judging by the look of it, what do we got here?
So this is Life magazine, 1949, and Dr. Sirianni was profiled.
Who's this babe on the cover?
That's a great question.
But she's dead now.
Sure.
No.
Well, more than likely.
I'm just
She probably
kidding.
doesn't look like that anymore.
1948. Gee,
Yeah,
okay, that's neat.
1948. So Dr. Sirianni came to Kremling in 1947 and ran the hospital there until the 70s.
So right at the end of Dr. Susie's tenure, as Dr. Sirianni shows
pretty
up.
much. And he was unique for a country doctor in the fact that he was a surgeon. So he could take care of patients like very few country doctors could. But he was profiled in this photo essay by Eugene Smith, who would become very famous photo essayist over the years. But he profiled Dr. Sirianni for this photo essay, and you can see showing him at work.
Baby's doing
Doing all kinds of things.
So our little tiny, I mean, this is tiny town back then, so they
Oh.
somehow zoomed in on rural American culture in the mountains. Huh?
And he took care of not just Kremling, but all of Grand County, as well as Eagle County and parts of Summit County, because he was the only doctor around for
He had no life.
several hundred miles. No, he really didn't have any life. His son, who is a physician today, a specialist down in Denver, commented about what his father went through, that he worked literally 17, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. He had no involvement with his family because he was too busy with everybody else.
That's dedication.
So, yeah. Now this photo here is...
Stitching up the face of a kid or what?
Yes. So this is a girl that was kicked in the head by a horse.
Oh, yeah.
And this is actually this assistant, this is the sister of my now former assistant at the museum, Twyla Ohado.
And that's him there.
But that's Dr. Sirianni, and that's Twyla's sister. So, yeah.
Wow.
What year?
1948.
So this is a year, he just started when this...
So he was a Navy doctor in World War II, and then came
Then he came up here and they did the spread right into his...
a year after he got here.
So he got a surgery training in the field, probably.
Oh, definitely.
Legitimately.
Legitimately, and you can see he's doing everything, absolutely everything. So we have a tendency to consider babies that were born here from 1947 all the way into about 1984 Dr. Sirianni babies, or Doc Sirianni babies, because he delivered all the babies that were up here.
Doc Sirianni. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. What an incredible story. We're going to be back here chatting a little more about the Grand County Historical Association and kind of what you guys do, events you might have coming up.
Sure.
But once again, we're hanging out with Tim Nicklas here, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back.
Okay.
Good Morning Grand County is brought to you by
The Village at Winter Park Resort. More than you imagine.